So as I discussed previously, the Olympics are 2016 Brazil Olympics are starting soon, and I wanted to. I made a video giving a preview of the women's soccer tournament that will go on there. I didn't make any predictions, and I kind of went back and forth, but I decided to make some predictions for the women's football tournament. So I'll just run through all my picks real quick. Before I start, I'll just say that whenever I do predictions, I try to be objective as possible. That can be tough, but that's what I try to do. And then the second thing is that the reason I decided to do the predictions was because I figured that I've embarrassed myself so much in the past with predictions that no matter what happens here, it can't get any worse. It can only get better. So that's why I'm doing these. So I'll just run through each group and then I'll do my knockout stage. And the other reason I like doing predictions sometimes is that you can actually dig in with analysis the best when you do predictions as opposed to just talking about the game and not trying to figure out who's going to win. Sometimes when you try to figure out who's going to win, that's when you can give the best prediction. So here are my picks. In Group E, I'll start with the first team and then go down. The team who I think will finish first in each group. So first will be Sweden in this group, my pick. I just think Sweden's a really good team. So second, I have Brazil, the host, obviously, and also a really good team with some really good players. I went back and forth who should be first. I went with Sweden, just because I trust in them. But keep an eye on Brazil. They're a really tough team. Then third, I have China, and China is going to be one of the two third-place teams that I have moving on. And then fourth in this group, I have South Africa. I felt really bad about that one because I really like the South African team, but I just couldn't. It was tough for me to figure out who they were going to finish over Sweden, Brazil, or China, so I had to put them fourth. In a tournament like this with only 12 teams, it's tough to even, get third or second. So now moving on to Group F, I have Germany winning the group. I think most people would agree that Germany is one of the best teams in the world. Second, I have Canada, who I'm pretty high on. They have some really nice players. They hosted the World Cup last year, and they did pretty good. So we'll see how they do. Third, I have Australia, who's another solid team. And then fourth, I have Zimbabwe. Only because we really don't know too much about Zimbabwe. And I'm actually excited to watch them play, see what they can do. So now I'm moving on to Group G. In Group G, I have France winning the group. I really like this French team. They have so much talent, but they always seem to fall short at the weirdest moment, and so hopefully for them they can put it together. Second, I have the USA, the number one team in the world, defending World Cup champs. They're looking to be the first women team never win the the World Cup and then the Olympics in back-to-back years. And if they do that, I think it's important to note that they probably will go down as the best women's soccer dynasty of all time if you consider that they made the World Cup final and lost it on penalties to Japan in 2011, then won the Olympics the next year in 2012, and then won the World Cup in 2015. So if they win the Olympics, that's 3 straight major tournaments they won, plus the final in 2011 that they could have won. That was a 50-50 game. So that's just important to note with them. But I do have them finishing second to France in this group. Third, I have New Zealand, a team I really, really like. They're in a tough group, but we'll see how they do. And then fourth in this group, I have Colombia, another team kind of like South Africa, where I think they have a good team, but it was just tough to see where they can finish above fourth in their group, which is a tough group. So I'm moving on to the knockout stage. I filled it in. It can be tough. The two third-place teams I advancing are China and New Zealand, with Australia just missing. So then you have to fill it in according to where each team would slot in with the tournament. So if you start at the top, it goes right to the round of 8, the quarterfinals. So I have Sweden versus New Zealand, then France, China, that's the top half, then Germany, US on the bottom, and then underneath that is I have Brazil, Canada. So starting at the top, I have Sweden advancing over New Zealand. Again, I like this Sweden team. Then I have France beating China. So the top half semifinal, I have Sweden versus France. Then in the bottom half quarterfinals, I actually have Germany beating the U.S. in the quarters. That was a really tough pick to make. Again, I try to be objective with these, and it was tough, but sometimes you get two of the best teams playing the quarterfinals, like happened at the World Cup last year between Germany and France, and one team moves on, the other doesn't in these tournaments, and it's tough. But I just have a feeling that if that happens, Germany will win. So then underneath that, Brazil versus Canada, what would be a really entertaining game, I think. I actually have Canada winning that game. So in the bottom half semifinals, I have Germany versus Canada. So I'm moving back to the top. Sweden versus France in the semis. I have France advancing over Sweden. Again, I'm putting my faith in this French team and the talent that they have. And on the bottom half semi, I have Germany versus Canada, and I have Germany advancing over Canada to the final. So my final is France and Germany. I think most people will read two of the best teams, right up there with the U.S., probably Brazil, maybe Sweden. But anyway, so France on the top half, first Germany. Final championship match, I have France winning and winning the women's soccer tournament at the Olympics 2016, winning the gold medal. We'll see. I tried to be objective as possible. I just really like this French team and what they can do when they're playing at their best. They've won tournaments, international tournaments, and they have a lot of players who really play well for their club teams. So that's what I have. So again, I have France winning the 2016 women's footballing tournament at the Olympics. We'll see. Again, like I mentioned the other day, this will be a really good tournament. I think we're all in for a really fun. I think it's like 2.5 weeks of some really good soccer between these teams. Really competitive, I think. So there's my picks. Thank you for watching. And comment on yours if you want, or email me what you think. I'm sure there's a lot of different thoughts that people have. So, see you soon.